Hi guys, it's Sherry. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Let's make something magical. Y'all stay tuned. So as you all know, recently I participated in a Prima collaboration that was hosted by Fun Paper Art, and the second part of that collaboration comes up on Saturday, October 12th, so make sure you are tuned in because we'll each be presenting our second and final part of the collaboration on that date. But for my first collaboration entry, I created this beautiful tissue box holder, and I absolutely love it, and you guys did too because the feedback was awesome. And I got a lot of requests for tutorials. So I am going to be making a tutorial today of how to make the box. So the box that I'm using is actually a box of Target tissues. And the measurements that I'm giving you are designed to fit this box of tissues. And I don't know if tissue boxes are standard size. I have no idea. But I do know that I'm using a box of tissues from Target. So if you are planning to make this project, you need to make sure that your tissue box is equivalent to the size of this Target tissue box. So I am going to go ahead now and show you guys how I actually made the box for this. So what I have is a piece of my beautiful, beautiful Love Nicole paper that I was gifted by A.C. Moore, and here is the pack. And I'm using the snowflake paper from this pack, and this paper is just so soft and easy to work with. So I'm using Love Nicole and I'm using the snowflake paper, and this paper can be found at A.C. Moore. So what I did was I took two pieces of the paper because each sheet measures 8.5 by 11 and I needed a long strip. So I took two sheets and joined them together using my 5/8 inch tape, and that's how I got my one long sheet. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I have some chipboard pieces that I'm going to lay down. And I have two pieces of chipboard that measure 4 3/8 by 5, and I'm going to take one of those and lay it down, giving myself about an inch on one side. Then I have a piece of chipboard that measures 4 7/8 by 5, and that one goes next to the first one that I placed. So I'm placing these down, giving myself about 1/8 of an inch in spacing. Then I have my second piece of chipboard that measures 4 3/8 by 5, and it now goes next to the 4 7/8 by 5 piece that I placed, again using about 1/8 of an inch in spacing. And then I have my last piece, and it's 4 7/8 by 5, and it goes down next to the 4 3/8 by 5 inch piece that I placed, and it again goes down with about 1/8 of an inch in spacing. And one thing to remember when you're doing this, when you're placing these down, the 5-inch side always goes up. So just make sure you remember that when you're placing them, because some of them look pretty close in size, and I wouldn't want you to place your papers down wrong. So then I'm going to trim off some of this excess. And then I'll be doing what you guys see me do all of the time. I'm just going to stand this up and fold on all 4 sides. So on this end, I am simply going to come in, and I'm going to do this with my scissors because I have to do it a little bit backwards. And I am going to just miter cut just like that. And then on this end, I am actually going to notch out completely a square. So I'm going to come in and remove that just like that. And I'm even going to angle in just a little bit. And I'll do the same thing over here. So I'm going to come in and just cut out. And this is a very long piece, so I'm trying to make sure I can keep it in frame. And we're going to have it looking like this. So the next thing that I'll be doing is I am going to take my tape And I'm going to put this down just like this. I'm not going to put any right here yet, so I'm going to put tape on 3 sides. And then I'll put tape right here. So when you have your tape laid, it's going to look like this. So now I'll come back and I'm just going to lift up my tape. And fold over my paper. And I'll come back with my bone folder. We're going to make sure that gets nice and stuck. Okay, so now that we've got this all together, I have placed tape on here so that we can place our liner pieces. And I have 2 pieces, one that measures 11.5 by 4 7/8. Okay, so I'm going to place this glue on my liner piece. And then I'm just going to place it down just like this. So once we have it like this, I'm going to come back and do what you guys always see me do, is I just want to make sure that I get my folds upright. And now I can place my second piece. And so for the second piece, I'm simply going to place it down here. So this time I am going to place some glue, oops, right in here. And I'm going to get this placed down. And I'm going to bring this one all the way up to the top here. And I'll come back with my paper towel and I'm going to get this stuck. And just like that, we've got our box formed, and I am going to take my glue and just put it along here. Then I'm going to bring this up and just get this stuck down. So I'll come back, make sure that it's matched up nice and tight, and then I'm going to get this closed. And I'll come back with my bone folder, smooth that out, and we have our box shape. Okay, so now that we have our box made, let's go ahead and make the lid. And to make the lid, we're going to need to start with the piece that measures 8 5/8 by 9 1/8. And we'll need our scoreboard for this. So I am going to score this at 1 and at 2 on all 4 sides. And then I am going to fold and burnish my scores. Okay, so once the scores are folded and burnished, we're going to need to remove some pieces of paper. So in each corner we are going to have 2 squares, and we need to get rid of all of those. So I'll do the first 2 with you guys, and then I'll do the other 2 off camera. So the first thing that I want to do is right here where I've got my score line here, I am simply going to angle cut in on this line. So I'll come in on this one, and then I'll remove this piece. And then I will come down on this one, and then I can angle cut in. So I'll be left with that. And I'll do the same thing over here. So I'm going to cut straight down, and then I'll angle cut in. I'll cut in at an angle, and then I can cut this piece off. And we'll be left with 2 pieces that look like this. I'll do the other side and I'll be right back. Okay, so once we've made all of our cuts, we are going to need to take a piece of chipboard and place it down on the inside. And before I place it, I am going to make sure that it's going to fit. And I have this originally cut at 4 5/8 by 5, but I can see that I need to trim a little bit off each. I need to trim a little bit here and a little bit here. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I trimmed this down just a little bit, but when you're doing yours, start with 4 5/8 by 5 and then trim down as needed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape and place it on here. And I'll pull this up. All right, so once I have my board taped, I already have it covered on the back because this is going to lay down on the inside of the lid like this. So I want to make sure that it looks nice and neat. And now all I'm going to do is just take my board and get it placed down, but I want to make sure that it's placed down inside of my score marks, just like that. And now that we have this, we're going to go ahead and cut out the opening so that the tissue will have some place to feed through. And I have a piece that measures 1 by 3, and it's chipboard, and I'm using it as a template. So all I'm going to do is place some glue on it, and I'm going to flip it over because I want to cut on this side so that if I have any jagged ends, they'll show only on the inside. So I'm going to place this down, try to get it as centered as I can, and as even. And then when I think I have it decent enough to work with, I'll come back with my bone folder and just get that stuck down. And then I'm going to come back with my finger blade, and all I'm going to do is cut out my template here. So I'll cut all around it until I have removed this rectangle completely. Okay, so once you have it cut out, it's going to look like this. And if you want, you could actually go around the inside of this with gold paint just to make it prettier. So now we're going to put this lid together. And all I'm going to do is take my glue, put it on my flap, bring it up just like that. And I'll come back in and I'm going to work it with my bone folder. Alright, so once we've got our tabs glued down, we're going to fold back these outer flaps and we'll just place glue on them and then fold them back in and get them stuck down. And then once you have it all folded, this is what you're left with. If you wanted to, you could actually take some thin strips of chipboard and place them underneath this paper before you folded it over if you wanted more stability. But this is actually pretty sturdy. So I'm going to bring my box back in, place my lid on, and you can see how well my lid fits. You shouldn't have a whole lot of room. It should be a nice, snug lid. And that fits beautifully, and that looks beautiful. So now what we're going to do is the bottom. Okay, so to make the bottom, I have mounted a piece of 5 by 5 chipboard to coordinating paper. So all I'm going to do is fold over, and I'm going to come back and just miter cut my ends here. And then for the sake of speed, I'm just going to bring in my glue instead of laying down some tape and just glue these down. Just like this. I'll get that nice and stuck. We'll do this one. And then I have a piece that measures 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and I am simply going to place that down right there, and that will be on the bottom. So all I'm going to do is glue this up. and get this stuck down. And I'll come back with my bone folder and let's just smooth that out. Get up my excess. And now we are ready to take our box and place it on our base. So basically all I'm going to do is I am going to run a thin bead of glue just on the outer edges here around the lip, the whole rim of the lip of the bottom of this box. And remember, this glue dries clear, so I'm not too concerned about what might show on the outside. So just run your bead of glue. So then I'm just going to take the bottom and lay it down like this, and that way I'll be able to see if I've got it positioned properly and even. And then when I think I can start pressing it down, but I'm going to set it up just to take a look at it. Look at it from the side to make sure that everything is nice and flush. And everything looks pretty good. So just a note, when you're doing this method, this side is going to be flush. This side, the front and the back, I actually have a little lip overhanging. So there, we've got that done. So now what I'm going to do is place my feet. Okay guys, so we're going to place our feet, and I'm going to place my feet using my reptile glue because it will hold this. And I am basically going to put glue everywhere I need this to grab, and I'm not saturating it, but I am putting enough glue so that it's going to hold. And I am putting that in the corner, and I'll do another one. And I'm doing this with my box turned upside down because that just makes it easier. So just like that, I've got the glue on that one. Stick it down. I'll do my next one. Come over so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I've got my glue on that one. So I'll place it there. And then I'll take the last one and I'm going to place my glue on the inside, but I'm also placing it on this little lip here. So I'm going to give this a chance to dry a little, and then I'll be right back. So my box is actually dry enough to handle, but here's a little tip. If you place your box down and it wobbles, then just kind of bounce it a couple of times very gently to level the legs out. You don't want to hit it too hard because then your legs may come off, but just by doing that, you're leveling it. And I am going to go ahead and place on my lid. And you can see just how gorgeous this box is. So now let's take our tissue box and place it on the inside. Make sure that everything is going to sit inside nice and snug. Move it over if we need to, because you should have just a little bit of room to be able to get it in and out. And then we're going to pull out one of the tissue sheets and start feeding it through. Then I'll take my lid, put my lid on, and there we have got a wonderful, wonderful tissue box. But I want to do something in the way of decorating this, and I haven't quite decided what yet, so let's see. I have done some very light decorating to this, and I love how it turned out. So basically all I did was I added some lace all the way around the back, right at the bottom of the lip. And then I added a few flat back pearls just to give it a real decorative feel. And it's a very simple but elegant decorative feel. I'll bring in the one that I made using my Prima paper for the Prima Collaboration, and you can see how gorgeous both these are. But one is a little more subdued and then one is much more decorated. Either way, I think that these are absolutely stunning boxes to rest in a bathroom, decorated for a desk, So you know, with these little boxes, the sky is truly the limit, because now we can take our tissue boxes and set them inside of something decorative. We can take this paper and swap it out for recipe paper or cookbook paper, and it becomes a kitchen box. We can swap it out for a more manly paper, and we can set it in our husbands, boyfriends, brothers, uncles' office, wherever we want to put it. This is truly a great project for anyone to do and for anyone to receive. So I hope that you guys have truly liked seeing how I made this beautiful, beautiful box. And I hope that you'll give it a try. And I hope that you have liked this project. And if you have, please hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, but you are watching this video, I would love to have you join my online crafting family. You guys have a great day. Happy crafting, and we'll chat later. Bye.